Oh, not. Okay, so next one on Ethereum. This is picking on to the previous Bitcoin video, know when to use heavy capital. For example, this was another nice example when I went in with heavy capital. Also, because of the potential maximum upside versus the limited downside. As you can see, layered bids with buying some on spot on 104 or 140, I think it was. Afterwards, layering the more heavy, the lower you go in the bids, and we got filled almost entirely. So when you look at the stop percentage between, it's nihil. It's almost close to nothing. When you compare it to the upside targets, the potential upside targets, it's very much. Again, when you make that plan up front, you want to stick to it and you want to be taking the profits accordingly. So you do not want to be using the heavy capital for when there's trading between two high time frames, support and resistance. You want to be using the heavy capital only to short either resistance or to long support on a higher time frames, because of the odds of the reaction are increased and more predictable. So that's it. Onto Ethereum right now. So it is important to know the last projection fell through right here, so we landed right here close to the 200 moving average on the daily, and as I mentioned before, this was looking classic bull trapish. So maybe I've just been looking at charts for way too long, but this was looking like a classical bull trap. So we get this follow through to the downside, but it does not mean we have to recover here. So this scenario on Ethereum, this is a valid if Bitcoin holds above the 1.618 extension. When it breaks the 1.618 extension, I'm pretty sure that Ethereum and all the other altcoins are gonna take another nasty shit. So since staying out, prices only went down. So again, it's not as fun, but sometimes having no position or aside from your longer term or for looking for swing entries or something, sometimes you just gotta know if it's altcoins, you can basically only long them. If you're gonna purchase altcoins, it's longing, it's betting against Bitcoin that it will outperform. So when you have Bitcoin pumping up like this, the Bitcoin dominance goes up and most of the altcoins take a nasty shit. So again, if Bitcoin holds or trades sideways, Ethereum is gonna bounce. If Bitcoin breaks lower, Ethereum is gonna break lower. So for now, it did not retest previous broken support resistance yet, which is this right here. It's 145.5, 143 area. So if there comes a nice reaction upon this, this could cannot find the English word. This can be reinforced if the volume picks up on the bounce. So it's very important to have the volume on the bounce, because just take the brush. It's very possible that we just paint a falling wedge or something, and we go all the way down to 132. So if this depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes sideways, this is a logical area for Ethereum to be bouncing. We went as low as 146, so it is a potential area to be bouncing. So not really sure what else to be saying to be keeping an eye on. You can be watching this trend line. I am watching this trend line as well. If it closes below, it would kind of fade, bullish bias. Next thing to be watching is for a higher low to form again in the structure as to previous ones set. So aside from that, the volume is something to be keeping an eye on. If there is more downside and it has increased volume on it, it's usually a bad timing to be knife catching. It's a better timing to be knife catching when you see the volume on the selling side, when you see it decreasing, so it means the sellers are getting exhausted, and in combination with bull diversion on lower time frames or something, that's more when you want to be looking for entries. So given for now, the lines are not matched perfectly also, so if it closes below or anything, it's just roughly to say this is a channel. Expect pounds to bounce. If Bitcoin bounces or Bitcoin holds, Bitcoin does not need to bounce. If Bitcoin holds, Ethereum will get a bounce as well. So the first level to be watching, it is 165.6. Do not buy anything. I would not. I cannot be suggesting, but I will not be buying anything unless we break 165 right here. So, and when I say buying, I mean it in shorter time frame trading. So as mentioned before, in Bitcoin, everything on the way up towards this resistance zone is for profit taking, and it's not to be taking or adding large chip portfolio positions. It's purely for profit taking until proven otherwise. With that said, I think we've got most covered. Potential zones, if you are adding for these are for long term. Potential just ladder out again when breaking these swing lows right here, as it would also break the trend line, and might just make one big zone actually, so up to 140 and just lower more heavy. So this new box, I'm not going to be placing bits up front since I'm going out. I'm going to have a good time, but anywhere tomorrow and Sunday I will be monitoring, with the exception of a family visit and some friends coming over on Sunday. But any other from that, I have alerts set, and when price reaches this zone, it is potential to be entering swing positions as well. So it will depend on the Bitcoin chart as well and the lower time frames in combination with the volume. So this is a more high risk play, and there will not be any heavy capital attached to it. This is yeah, the English sometimes. Anything else? Nope. I'll cover Ethereum as well in the morning when I'm doing the video on the bigger video on altcoins. Then I'll take a look at Ethereum again and maybe mark out some potential scenarios. So painting it all up front and just painting the leading again It's gonna make this a long vid again, so instead I'll just open a blank tomorrow and I'll just paint it up front and hide it so I can just show it by clicking rewind on the arrow. So that was it for Ethereum. So I'll jump into some small fragment update videos on the standard altcoins, and then I will be uploading them all and going out. So big video will be for tomorrow on the other altcoins. Feel free to post some in the